Drink, 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 drink. Don't think, drink, drive, kill. These lyrics are from a 1985 song called Drinking and Driving by the band Black Flag. And while these lyrics are decades of years old, their message is even more prevalent today. Today, I would like to share with you all the dangers of drinking and driving. But before I begin, I would like to share a story with you. Last November, I had a friend pass away due to the wheels of a drunk driver. She was driving home from hanging out with some friends when she was struck by somebody under the influence. She was 19. Now, I don't want her to become another statistic, and I want her to be remembered in the way that she deserves. I don't want anybody else to suffer the same fate that she did. So today, I'll be talking to you all about the definition of drinking and driving, why it is such an issue, and ways that we as college students can be the change. Now, as college students, we are the biggest demographic that deals firsthand with drinking and driving. I'm sure every single one of you either knows somebody who drinks and drives or has done it yourself. And because of that, it's our responsibility to contribute to lowering the drinking and driving statistics instead of contributing to them raising. I've done extensive research over this topic for the past few months, and I want you to listen to all of the statistics and information that I share with you today. But most importantly, I want you to keep my friend in the forefront of your mind. I want you to keep all of your friends in the forefront of your minds. So today, we'll be discussing the definition of drinking and driving, all of the issues contributing to it, and finally, we'll be talking about ways that we can help fix it. So drinking and driving, how is it legally defined? According to the National Traffic Highway Safety Association in 2022, drinking and driving is legally defined as driving while having a blood alcohol content level limit of above 0.08%. Now, alcohol of any form in the body is going to affect you in some way, shape, or form. And this same article goes on to say that in 2019, 1,775 people died in traffic-related incidents that involved alcohol, where the driver had a blood alcohol content level of 0.01 to 0.07, all under the legal limit, and yet people still died. So how does alcohol affect the body? Well, at 0.02, your vision decreases as well as your ability to multitask. According to an article done by the CDC in 2011, this would take about 2 beers to get to. By 0.05, your coordination goes down as well as your ability to steer. This is 3 beers and still under the legal limit. By 0.08, your concentration is gone, your perception is gone, as well as your speed control. We're up to 4 beers now. By 0.1, your lane positioning is basically out the window, as well as your ability to brake, 5 beers. And finally, by 0.15, you basically have no ability to process and no attention span whatsoever, 7 beers. So now that we've discussed the definition of drinking and driving, both legally and the different ways that it can affect your body, let's talk about why it is such a problem. To be completely honest with you, the statistics I found in my research astounded me. According to a 2022 article published by Forbes, 27% of drunk drivers are college-aged. That is us. 27%, the largest demographic of any age group of drunk drivers. This article goes on to say that 1/3 of fatal car crashes involve alcohol in some way, shape, or form. So why do you think that we as college-age students are the most likely to drink and drive? According to a study done by Kumar and Valega in 2022 on alcohol-impaired driving and road safety, perceived invulnerability plays a large factor in whether somebody will drink and drive or not. Perceived invulnerability, this is thinking you're above the consequences of your own actions, thinking that you can't be touched, that you are immortal. It doesn't matter if you drink and drive because you can't be hurt. You can't be hurt, and you also definitely can't hurt anybody else. What's the worst that could happen? And sadly, this is the mindset of a lot of people our age. Another study done by Caluzzi et al. In 2022 talked about heavy social media use and how the more that somebody used social media, the more likely they were to drink and drive. They tied this to a positive alcohol perception presented on social media, as well as a positive perception of drinking and driving. It's a rebellious teenager thing to do. And of course, the more likely that somebody intakes that, the more likely they are to replicate that behavior. And of course, we cannot forget the ever-present concept of peer pressure. According to another study done by Hasanaitzimich et al. In 2022, binge drinking is a large factor in whether somebody decides to drink and drive. When somebody binge drinks, the possibility that they drink and drive goes up insanely high. And perception of peer binge drinking is something that affects a lot of adolescents. And this is very high as well. Perception of peer binge drinking is actually much higher than actual binge drinking that occurs. However, all an adolescent needs to do is look around and think that all of their friends are binge drinking, and all of their friends are drinking and driving, so why shouldn't they? So perceived invulnerability, heavy social media use, and perceived peer binge drinking are all things that contribute to drinking and driving. And I can tell you one thing that requires absolutely no sources and is simply a fact of life. You are mortal. And that does not just include you in the car. It includes everyone outside of the car who could be impacted by your actions as well. So now that we've talked about all of the issues surrounding drinking and driving, why it happens, let's talk about the solutions. There are two ways that we can go when we talk about this: the government and you. One of the biggest ways that the government can help contribute to lowering the drinking and driving statistics is to lower the blood alcohol content level limit to 0.05%. According to an article written by Kowal in 2018 for the Washington Post, Eastern European countries that have a much higher drinking culture than in the United States have a blood alcohol content level limit of 0.05%. And guess what? They experience significantly less drinking and driving incidents and fatalities than the United States does. Now, this level decrease is not to stop people from drinking, but to simply, as the article states it, make them rethink whether they're going to drive based on the amount of alcohol they have consumed. The government could also continue to fund breathalyzing interlocks that can be placed into automobiles. According to another article for the Washington Post written by Kunkel in 2021, the Automotive Coalition Traffic Safety Unit might have a consumer version ready of a breathalyzing interlock in 2024. Now, this is game-changing, and it's only 2 years away. Somebody would have to take a breathalyzer test to even get their car to start. Now, while this would be an insane technological advancement, the biggest way to decrease drinking and driving statistics is sitting all in this room right now. It's you and me, and there are 4 ways that we as college students can help make a difference. 1, find a ride before you even leave for the concert, party, venue, etc., anything. Anywhere where you think you're going to be consuming alcohol, find a ride before you even leave. This is as easy as finding an Uber, picking a designated driver, and sticking with it. There are so many alternatives available to us nowadays that people didn't even have 10 years ago. That makes it so easy to not drink and drive. Second, don't let anybody who has been driving get behind the wheel. Yes, it can be so scary to stand up to your friends and say, I don't think what you're doing is right, and I'm not going to endorse it, and I don't want you to do it. But I promise you, it is much less scary than that person potentially getting into a wreck and harming themselves or others. Third, and the most obvious way to reduce drinking and driving is to not do it yourself. Don't even consider it as a possibility in your head. Don't even let it be a thought. And fourth, always buckle up. You can control your own actions on the road, but you cannot control the actions of the people around you, and you never know what people have been doing before they decided to get on the road. So now that we've talked about all of the solutions to this, I'd like to recap everything that we've learned today. First, we talked about the definition of drinking and driving. Then we went into what causes it, and finally we talked about ways that we can help solve it on the ground level. Community engagement is one of the big 3 pillars here at Missouri State, and that's something I really want to impart to you guys today. Yes, I want you to take the information I've shared with you and think on it and internalize it, but I also want you to go tell your family. I want you to go tell your friends. I want you to go tell anybody that you know who does drink and drive how dangerous it is, how much it can harm someone's life. Ashley. That was the name of my friend who was hit by the drunk driver. 19-year-old Ashley. She is a statistic now, but she is so much more than that. She was smart, and she was funny, and she had such a bright future ahead of her before it was cut off because somebody decided to get behind the wheel while they were intoxicated. Drink Drink, drink, drink. Don't think, drink, drive, kill. The decision is yours to make. The decision to drink and drive or not to is yours to make. The decision to encourage your friends not to do the same thing is yours to make. And I implore you to make the right one. Don't drink and drive. Thank you.